highly rated research professor with the Department of Science and Innovation and the National Research Foundation. Mammo Muchie is the South African Research Chair in Science, Technology and Innovation Studies at the Tshwane University of Technology in Pretoria, South Africa. He is also a prolific writer with hundreds of publications so far, and we're going to spend some time with him talking about current issues unfolding in his home country, Ethiopia. In this edition of Addis Dialogue, with it, I'm Shifarao Lako. You stay with us. Professor, many thanks for joining us.
It's a great pleasure to be invited by you, and thank you very much.
Now, you are a rated research professor and a prolific writer in South Africa. You are also serving as an adjunct professor in a number of universities in your home country. Let's first talk about it.
Yes, I have been a student. When I was still in high school, I went to America. There was something called the World Youth Forum. So I won, and so they took me to the United States. And so I finished my high school in America, in a place called Dwight Morrow High School in New Jersey. After that, I got a scholarship to go to America, to Columbia University in New York. That was 52 years ago. So since then I have been, I was not able to return home during the period of the military government, when we had a problem. We're in the student movement, and then also when the ethnic system was imposed on us by the Tigray People's Liberation Front. I protested strongly in 1991 in London. I was the chairman of the Ethiopian community in Britain. So we organized a big protest. We said Ethiopia should not be split, Eritrea from Ethiopia, and also ethnic federalism should not be imposed on Ethiopia. That is, of all places in the universe, Ethiopia should not be subjected to that. We argued, we strongly did, but we also say to the British and the Americans, this is what they are doing is not right, what they did to Ethiopia at that time. But since then, I have been struggling, and I was accused also by the Tigray People's Liberation Front government. So I couldn't come to Ethiopia.
Now, Professor, as we speak, it's been a while since Ethiopia is in the middle of foreign pressures, all coming in the name of different forms and names, which some call white saviors, with their threats of sanctions and even military intervention. What is going on, and where is Ethiopia heading, in your view?
Yes, thank you for the good question. So, right. Ethiopia has been put under pressure by what you call the white saviors, what some people call it white saviors. But there are two key issues that should be noted. There are forces in the West, from America, from the European Union, that are now saying sanctions must be imposed, all right, on Ethiopia. To this extent, they have come. I think the important point is what we should say now is that what we see in Ethiopia happening is that there is coronavirus, and it has affected the political process. Remember the election being postponed, and then that election being postponed, the Tigray People's Liberation Front said they will not postpone it, and then they did their own action. So what you have is a situation where there are difficulties like that. But at the same time, election has taken place. But we're told that this election, no matter whatever outcome it had, it was done properly. That's what we have been told. So if this is the case, the international community should not really, these external actors, what you call them white savers, should not be imposing, on Ethiopia and threatening sanctions against Ethiopia. I think it doesn't go very well, because if the government that is elected by the people of Ethiopia, so we should, whatever we say at the moment, because of this, we should accept what's going on by the people, whether we like it or not. So we need to really ask the international community to actually go for how to end the war. And those who are doing this conflict, they should be told to stop it. That's what they should be doing. Not saying, let's identify who should be under sanction. In other words, we should not give them visas or things like that. Some of the leaders, these kind of things, I think, should not be the one they should be focusing on. They should be focusing on how to create peace and stability and security for the people that suffer in Ethiopia. That's what I think we should recommend strongly.
And in addition to the United States of America, some members of the United Nations, the European Union is also threatening Ethiopia with its resolutions. Some are voicing concern that this would cripple Ethiopia, while others say there's nothing to worry about as long as Ethiopia keeps its internal unity and find solutions to the problem. What is your take here?
Again, this thing about the European Union, I must say to you that a group of citizens, now they have become citizens who live permanent residents, Ethiopians, have written a strong communique rejecting and really saying to the European Union, don't do these threats to Ethiopia. They have said that to them. They have sent the communique to all the parliament and all the forces that are involved in trying to impose this sanction. The key thing they are saying is that there's humanitarian crisis. They're also saying that when they send some of this, help they're sending, they are not reaching them, and so on. But the problem we hear now is that even when these things are sent, what has happened is that the forces in the area, when they send it to the Tigray, the TPLF and others, they use it also for the military purpose, for the war. So there's a very complicated situation about how to deliver services exactly to the people who suffer. Because this situation is happening, the only thing they should be insisting, really, the European Union, like I said before, is how could this war be prevented? How could we find a situation where all the forces that are now in this conflict are managing it so that the ordinary people that have been suffering, all right, the humanitarian crisis that has been taking place, which is expanding in the Afar area and the Amara, all these areas now is happening. How could we stop it? They also, for some peculiar reason, they only focus on the humanitarian crisis in Tigray, which exists, but also they should also do it in all other places it's happening. It's happening in Afar, it's happening in the so-called Amhara and all other areas where having these challenges. So they should be doing that. So my strong advice to the European Union is to stop, again, threatening Ethiopia with sanctions. That's wrong. They should try very strongly to use any of their any efforts they have to make sure that the forces that are in the fight at the moment, in the conflict, can now find a way to manage it. On that side, there should be they should suggest ideas, very good ideas, to all the actors, the government, those forces like the Tigray People's Liberation Front that's doing the fighting. They started this war. They should know how to stop it. That's how they should be recommending it.
Now, the current trend we're observing in the media narrative is that the conflict in Ethiopia is a civil war, contrary to what the government is saying. What have you observed in this regard, Professor? And is it a civil war in your view?
What is civil about it? Tell me. If you're fighting in a war, why is it a civil war? Civility is civilization almost. All right, war is barbarism. What we see is, really sincerely speaking, there should never have been this war. It was totally out of order. Even if there is difference, whatever differences the politicians have, when they make war, who suffers? The ordinary people who have nothing to do with the decision. They are not involved in the decision making. They don't participate, but they suffer. So these people who make the decision to do the war have done, sincerely speaking, a barbaric, evil act on our nation, on our Ethiopia. The Ethiopia that deserves nothing else but really recognition. It has a strong recognition in the world as providing the spiritual public good for the world, the spiritual strength for the world, for resisting colonialism, for not being colonized. That resistance gave to millions of, how can I say to you, to all the people who are being oppressed, they say, look at our example, Ethiopia. Now, a country like that, that's an example for the whole world, is now being mistreated by our own ethnic politicians. What we should be doing now, from this, I hope, what this government should learn from this is, why did we get into this war? We got into this war because, as I told you, when I protested in 1991 with all my brothers and sisters in London, and also even the British also joined us too. I think when we did it, we said no imposition of ethnic division in Ethiopia, divide and rule. No, that's wrong. And then I remember 27 years ago, I wish you could read it. I had also a discussion where I said very strongly that this is wrong. They should now, if this happens, war will continue to happen. So what we need now is the best thing from this disaster. What we could create a blessing is by completely changing this ethnic federal constitution. Trust me, action without vision is a nightmare. The vision is the Ethiopia human rights vision is number one. The humanity of all Ethiopians recognized. Our differences should not be a challenge to us. We should appreciate our differences. Our similarity as Ethiopians, as Ethiopianness, is, we should celebrate it. If we do that, then there will be no problem. So to do that, we need fundamentally to change the constitution. This constitution that was imposed on us, it's almost a divide and rule constitution. I must tell you, this is very important. You really, all of you must know. There was a guy called Baron Roman Parachoska. I think the book has now been translated into Amharic. I initially was the one, I think about, I don't know how many years ago, I did a review of the book. 3 times I reviewed it. I was amazed. When I read it, I was shaken. I'm sincerely telling you how he did it. What did he say? This Ethiopia, if it continues to be uncolonized, it will be the best example for all the people. It will be a defeat for all of Europe and what you call the white savers. It will be a defeat for them. So to do that, we must divide it. What did he say we should divide it with? Create ethnic division.
The other issue is that they are breaching journalistic principles, clearly taking one side, especially by some Western media outlets when it comes to the conflict in Ethiopia. What have you made out of that?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Actually, I must tell you this. I was teaching doctoral students at the Pan-African University in Yaoundé, Cameroon. And then when I left the hotel where I was staying, when I was waiting, I just opened the television, and the first news from the CNN was about the Ethiopian Airlines, how Ethiopian Airlines has been, carrying weapons and getting involved in the war in Tigray. And it was very scary, to be honest with you. For me, I was just so shocked to hear the way they attacked the Ethiopian Airlines. It's the best airlines now. The whole world has acknowledged it. And then I was shocked. Then I myself, we and some of the diaspora, the Ethiopians, we did a campaign, very strong campaign, to the CNN, and then countered them. The good news, I must tell you, is that the CNN eventually started changing. So what we need now with the media is the entire media is overwhelmed by I think is influenced by all kinds of forces. I don't know how they get. Remember, the media focuses on drama. If it's not dramatic, in other words, they even try to dramatize something to make it. By doing that, they don't do education, or they don't do research, or they don't do something useful. They are not interested in that. They are interested in showing what is happening, like some strange thing that is happening. They dramatize it, they talk about it. So sometimes falsely. They don't even investigate who gave them that information. So in a war situation like this now, when you have two forces, one side, when they are defeated, they might even say, well, we've won. That's what they may say. You get me?
Yes.
So because of this, it's a very complicated. Now what I hear is in the Dessie area, what the TPLF is doing is it's amazing what we hear, all the negative stories you hear. In the Afar area, and the Amara area, and all these areas, you hear all these stories, but they never report them. What do they report? Only on what's happening, they think is happening in Tigray, humanitarian crisis and things like that. They spread like that, so the media is controlled. We must say, from the example we did on the Ethiopian Airlines, I'd like all of us to engage and say, protect Ethiopia, to make sure that unless there's evidence and fact, there's real evidence, don't dramatize, don't spread these false rumors. The media should stop doing this. That's what we should be saying. As you rightly put it, the BBC, what don't they report? The New York Times, all the media, Al Jazeera, all of them, they have been spreading amazing, really false information about what's going on in Ethiopia. And Ethiopia is also at war with the media. It's being attacked. It's at war also on the diplomatic sphere. We need strong diplomacy. We need to counter also the media very strongly to make sure that accurate information. But for everything to really happen properly, we need to end this war completely. The sooner it ends, the better. My appeal to even all of them, including the ones that started this war, the TPLF, they have been there for nearly how many years? 27 years. They have run. Why do they want to continue? Why do we need people in Africa, the governors? Why don't we have a system of governors where you can stay for so long and then others come and they must also leave? We must have a system that actually makes it easier transparency, accountability. Those things are more important than all these things these people do just to stay in power. For what? It's not good to continue in power. No. And also the system they have imposed, I told you, is a dangerous system for Ethiopia because it copies an apartheid divide and rule colonial imperial system that has been imposed in our constitution. And if this government, my appeal to also to the current government in Ethiopia is whatever differences they have, they must make the nightmare, the constitutional nightmare must be stopped. They must create a new vision based on Ethiopian humanity and African humanity. That is the best thing. We Africans should be recognized. We should be put first and foremost. Our values and our principles, our humanity must come first. Not dividing ourselves through religion, ethnicity, language, all right, age, gender. Those things we should appreciate. Not use them to give some right, others deny right. No. Those kinds of things are wrong. Then this must change forever. That's my suggestion, my strong recommendation and appeal to all of them, all these politicians. Politicians are complicated, so I hope they understand and they learn to be humble. They should learn to serve, not to be served, not to create wealth for themselves. No, they should be helping the well-being of the people and the well-being of Ethiopia. That is what I think I strongly recommend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor. And finally, you're also a strong proponent of Pan-Africanism, spending lots of your scholarly years supporting such ideas. With its manifold problems and conflicting posture, can the continent of Africa manage to realize the idea of Pan-Africanism in the first place?
Thank you for asking that important question. The biggest problem Africa has is that we Africans have not been able to unite. You know, we still suffer from the colonial legacy. We should find a way to deal with it. We need to have the African agency, the African project, all right, African solidarity, and those things value, but we don't. What happened after 1963 when the Organization of African Unity is formed? Many coups d'etats, many wars took place in Africa. They still are. We still are having problems everywhere, not just what we are now seeing in Ethiopia, in the DRC Congo, in the Central African Republic, Mali. I cannot tell you how many conflicts exist. Is it necessary that we should be in this situation? No. Why not really find a way to resolve our difficulties? We were not able to do it because we did not listen to the Pan-African vision, Pan-African governance, Pan-African leadership, institutions, systems. We were not able to generate them very systematically. We say the Africa we want in 2063, another 100 years, but we still are not functioning. And the other big problem is that the organizations we all have formed, the regional organizations, the African Union, they're all funded by external actors. I mean, if 60% of your fund comes from Europe for the African Union, is it an African Union? It's very complicated. So I think we have a serious challenge. We Africans must learn a lot from the Chinese experience. Look what China did. Whatever problems they went through difficulties. And yesterday there was an amazing conference. I attended a symposium, and the Chinese were presenting. I was just fascinated by how they did all this innovation. They went through it. You not believe, no matter what difficulties they face, they managed their country in such a way that they have now eradicated poverty. There's no one person in China that's poor now. Can you imagine? And they did it from 1949 to now. We have not done it. All right? From 1963, we haven't done anything yet. So we still are poor. We still suffer. What doesn't Africa have? Africa has the richest resource in the world. The DRC Congo has resources estimated to 24 trillion. That's a combined gross national product of all of Europe and America. Coltan is from there.
Yeah.
We have everything. Our knowledge heritage, our spiritual heritage, our struggle heritage, our Ethiopianism also as a great philosophy for humanity, for making Africans. So we should now strongly recommend, go back to Ethiopianism philosophy that was a precursor, founder of Pan-Africanism. From Pan-Africanism, come to Africa Renaissance. Let's combine them as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit together. Ethiopian philosophy, Pan-Africanism, and Africa Renaissance unite.
Yeah.
Take a time like the Chinese did. Let's learn from their experience. I'm not saying let's copy them, but learn from them and make Africa, all Africans rich. No one will be poor. No one will be a beggar. If we really develop a Pan-African governance, a Pan-African system and leadership quality that allows us to be rich. And I hope Ethiopia is a great example because of the resistance side. It provided that. So that side of Ethiopia will be appreciated. And anyone who fights Ethiopia is fighting also Africa. So the mother of Africa is Ethiopia. If you fight the mother, you are also, all right, fighting Africa. So don't fight Africa. Those of you who are now fighting Ethiopia, who are creating war, creating all this mess, please stop it. Please apologize. Stop. Let no one suffer in Ethiopia. Let's continue to make innovative, strong, inventive, creative, entrepreneurial, and really a cultured, very strong, civilizational Ethiopia. Let Ethiopia be civilized. Yeah? The world feels time. Time feels history. History feels Ethiopia. That's my suggestion. Strongly. Thank you very much. Let's make it like that. Not fight it. Thank you.
What a message, Professor. Thank you so much for your wonderful ideas and for your precious time.
Thank you so much. You also, I really appreciate you too. Thank you so much for making the time.
Well, the viewers, with that, we come to the end of today's program. Many thanks, as usual, for your company so far. Until I see you next time with another program, it's goodbye from me, Chifaralak. Bye-bye.